We'd like to welcome back Dr. Elizabeth Rodgers, health and longevity doctor, who is back to talk about one of the most common staples in your fridge that you probably shouldn't have in your fridge. So it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
I mean, you think about some of the things that we eat, we put into our bodies, don't give it a second thought, and really we're doing something terrible for ourselves.
We really are. And what's interesting to me is I think back to if you were a kid growing up in the 1980s or 90s, like I was, then I know that you remember the ubiquitous milk campaign ads. They were literally everywhere we turned.
Yes.
So we had the Milk Does a Body Good campaign, followed by the Got Milk campaign. And the message that milk is good for your body, does a body good, is one of the most prevalent health messages that I think we've ever been given as a population.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, they really went hard on the advertising with that one.
Really hard. I mean, I remember going to school.
But everybody ate it up, so to speak.
We did. I remember being at school, walking down the hall and seeing posters of Michael Jordan with the milk mustache.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, or the one where the kid, all of a sudden you see him grow 6 feet tall.
I'll never forget that commercial.
Milk, yeah.
I was sure I was going to be that kid.
I know, right? Exactly. So why is milk not good for our bodies?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Recent research is showing us that milk doesn't really do a body so good after all. Emerging studies are showing us that there actually is little to no benefit of dairy products for our bone health and well-being.
And that's specifically what they were targeting. Was
specifically
bone health.
Right.
Strong bones, calcium.
In fact, a recent analysis by the British Medical Journal showed that almost no studies have proven any type of benefit for dairy and bone fractures and bone health specifically. They actually did a study, a couple of studies I read about before I came here, because it's really important to me that I educate everyone.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't think we have enough public health leaders who come out and help people understand what health information we can trust and whether it's right for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a couple of studies that really, to me, highlighted just how backwards these messages have been that we've received there was a study done in tens of thousands of young teenage boys. They also did a similar study in teenage girls. They actually found that in the girls, dietary intake of calcium and milk from milk products specifically had nothing to do with their bone health or reduction in bone fractures as they aged. And in the boys, they actually found that boys who were having a serving of at least 2.5 servings of dairy per day were actually at an increased risk the older they got for bone fractures.
That's so counterintuitive from everything that we've been taught.
It is very counterintuitive. And now we have researchers showing us as recent as March of 2023 that dairy increases the risk for some types of cancers, including breast cancer, prostate cancer, and ovarian cancer. Wow. Some of those that we, that impact so many of our loved ones in our population.
Exactly. So if someone were to say have an allergy towards milk and not know it, some of the things that you just described, that's in a whole other class on its own. But if someone were to have an allergy towards milk, how would it manifest typically?
It can manifest in a lot of different ways, and that is a great question. I'm so glad you asked. It can manifest as digestive or gastrointestinal imbalances. However, allergies can impact our bodies in a lot of different aspects, including mentally and emotionally. So it could be manifesting even as imbalances in the way we feel, in irritability, in frustration. So it doesn't necessarily show up as digestive imbalances, although that is one of the most common ways. I think it's important too that everyone understands that now the Centers for Disease Control does list milk as the most serious allergy-causing food, followed by eggs, fish, wheat, soy, tree nuts, and peanuts.
That's incredible.
And I don't think that's something we even talk about. Like, I remember in school constantly being told milk was good for me, but I never learned these kinds of things.
It's on every single plate in a school cafeteria, chocolate or regular, and maybe now's a time where people need to take a step back. And not to put the milk producers out of business, because there's always a need for it,
of course.
But in smaller quantities to add to a recipe. But to add the alternatives to drinking milk to get your vitamin C, vitamin D would be there are a lot of great non-dairy alternatives now, which are becoming more and more common in the stores. So you can get those types of benefits from other nutrients coming from other foods. And calcium, some of the other
benefits that we get from milk can come from actually things like leafy greens, other fruits and vegetables that I don't think we're just ever really educated on how to get and make replacements for milk.
And they're fibrous, and they've got so many other benefits. Or supplements. There's also supplements
There's
as
a
well.
lot of great supplements too.
Dr. Rodgers, thank you so much for that. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
We're back after this.